This week in anime, Mob and Reigen go through a tough breakup, Bird Girl gets a cute new outfit, and Dawn enters the fray. Without further ado, let's talk about anime. What is going on, party people? It is I, Fuminsho, back at it once again with another weekly anime update. Today we're going to be talking about Mob Psycho 100, The Rising of the Shield Hero, and The Promised Neverland, episode 6 of all of those series. I tried to squeeze in Dororo, I really did. I wanted to get it done this week. I wanted to binge the 6 episodes that are out, just couldn't fit it in my schedule. Next week we will be talking about Dororo. I want to watch that show. I've heard nothing but praise for it. I've heard it's one of the best shows this year, so definitely got to give it a watch and definitely got to find the time to talk about it. But right now we're talking about Mob Psycho 100, and I'm just going to go and say this out right now. This is probably the weakest episode yet. Not that it was necessarily a bad episode, I don't know, I wasn't really feeling it. The episode itself was emotional, and I definitely felt that. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, in the opening, these two characters, Mob and Reigen, kind of break up. They're no longer working together, and we see the toll that it puts on Reigen, and Reigen alone. I think that's what kind of took me out of the episode, is we kind of focus off of Mob, and this episode is a very Reigen episode, and that is okay. That is a good thing, because Reigen doesn't really have too many of his own episodes. I think maybe this might be one of the first episodes that is just solely focused on him, and I like that, but we see Mob going through a lot of stuff as well, stuff that they kind of let us on with, I guess, with last week's episode. You know, after everything that happened with the fight inside this girl's body and everything there, and what that has done to Mob as a character. We're kind of just left wanting more development for his character, or more resolve there, but it's kind of just like, no, we'll do that later. We're talking about Reigen now, and that, I don't really dig that. I don't really dig that. The stuff with Reigen was really, really cool, though. I really liked the bar scene. I thought there was just a lot of humor there. I thought there was a lot of just really good direction there, and also the soundtrack in this episode was great, and I sort of like seeing Reigen's rise to fame. I don't like montages in any form of media. I think it's a little lazy sometimes. It can be done right, but sometimes it comes off as lazy. This episode, I like the montage. It's funny, but I feel like it was a little too fast. I would like to see a little more of that kind of initiative coming from Reigen, more of him actually, you know, putting in the work to become this at this level, you know, and to have Mob not even realize what's going on with Reigen, to have him not hear about this at all, and that's a little weird to me. I feel like Mob as a character would. It's not like he doesn't care about Reigen. We're never led to believe that he doesn't like Reigen and that Reigen is not his friend. That's something that the show has never conveyed to us. So I feel like that he would at the very least keep tabs on him, or at least, I don't know, pop in and visit. I'm not quite sure. I don't really know. It's hard, you know, with Mob as a character to predict his sort of his emotional journey and what he's going through. When you have a character that's kind of emotionless basically for the majority of the series, it's hard to pinpoint what exactly is his course of action here when something big like this happens. And I kind of wish we got just a little bit more focus there. The stuff when he's, you know, at the karaoke or whatever, and when one of his friends asks him, "Hey, are you having fun?" and he just says, I think so. That I felt that. Like, I want to know what's going on there, you know, through his character and how he's dealing with all this. We see how Reigen's dealing with it, basically despair, and I really like that because it's funny. He's over dramatic in these scenes, and it's Reigen at his finest. It really is. The stuff with Reigen's mom too, when he's reading his like Facebook messages or whatever, that actually hit me a little bit. You could see that Reigen was kind of embarrassed, or kind of ashamed that he's kind of a nobody, and that he hasn't really done much, and he's 28 now. We finally have that canon age, and I feel for his characters so much in this episode. They definitely made me care about him more and sort of his personal journey. In the beginning of the episode, we see, you know, his old job or whatever. He's basically like a telemarketer, and that sucks. Like, you could tell that is just a sucky place to be, and his mom kind of like shoehorning that back into his life, and we see his reaction to that. Like, that was impactful, that was meaningful. We see his kind of rise to fame, but I don't know, like, I didn't get to feel the impact of his rise to fame and what that means. Like, how is he famous now? Like, what is he doing differently now? Just more jobs? I mean, he's obviously working harder, and we see this this again, a montage, but just I feel like not a lot was done there to convey that, hey, he is better now. He's a better character now. He's a stronger character now. It felt a little forced, I guess, is the best way I could put it. Again, I feel like I'm criticizing this episode a lot, but it was still a very entertaining episode. There was still a lot of stuff happening here. Just in comparison to last week, and I wasn't expecting an episode on the tier of last week's episode. Absolutely not. Those are kind of like once or twice a series type of episodes there, but I just wanted more kind of resolve of everything that happened. Again, as I mentioned with Mob's character, after everything that he went through there, even reigen himself, I figured that would make his bond stronger with Mob, especially how he treated Mob in that arc, in that little story there, where he put all of his trust in Mob. Was that purely coming from just his sort of selfishness and getting a job done, or does he actually care about Mob? Throughout this season, we're kind of led to believe that maybe that relationship is more than just work related. Maybe it means more to both of them. And then that's kind of crapped on in this episode because reigen says some really mean things, and we get sort of there's definitely consequences to that. You know, he definitely feels that he went too far, and he felt like that was just really mean. He shouldn't have said those things, but why would he say those things? You know, after everything that they've gone through, especially after last week's episode, it feels forced. It feels a little weird. All in all, the episode itself was not terrible. I did enjoy it, but kind of a mishmash of themes. Kind of like, I don't know, it's like, I don't really know what's going on here. You know, it feels just a little bit weird. It feels like this episode should have been like before last week's episode or before the week before that. It just, I don't know, things felt a little forced. Again, you still have Bones working on this thing. The animation, the character animation, the voice acting, everything about the episode was great. It's just, I don't know, maybe it's the source material there, maybe they're just veering off in a different direction. I'm not quite sure. This is the halfway point of the series, so I'm okay with this. I'm okay. Let's just move on. Next week's episode doesn't look like we're doing that, though, because we are continuing sort of reigen's storyline there. I'm curious what this old man has in store for him on this weird, like, talk show, game show thing that they're doing. I'm not quite sure, but I'm excited. I'm excited to see sort of the resolvement of this arc. Next up, we're jumping into the Rising of the Shield Hero episode 6. I like this episode. Again, probably my least favorite out of all 6 episodes, but it still stands pretty high. I definitely just felt vibes. Again, I know I say this, and every time I talk about the series, I'm like, the vibes, man, they're so good, but they really are so good, and I cannot stress that enough. I really feel like this is an RPG. It felt like we went on an epic side quest, a really, really cool side quest, and there's just lots of good things happening in this episode. I mentioned in last week's update that I didn't want a sort of rivalry between filo and raphtalia. I don't want that. I think that's tropey. It's stupid. Why would they feel that way? But they do it in the episode in a subtle way, in a way that's understandable, but not forced and not like just like, hey, these are two waifu characters fighting, haha. Like, it's not like that. It feels a little more meaningful than that, and that's a good thing. That's something that it was a breath of relief there. I won't lie. Like, we're not doing that. Good. I definitely enjoyed sort of the banter there, and it was actually pretty fun, not gonna lie. Filo is a character I really like too, because she's not in this anime girl form all the time. She is a bird, a chocobo, and I really like seeing her as that. I like seeing her fight as this big bird. I like her kind of leading this carriage. Like, that's interesting and different, you know. There's not a lot of series with big talking birds in it, and I'm glad that this series is pulling that off. The episode itself, you know, the meat of the episode, the trader stuff, I really liked when he was kind of like going through the carriage, whatever, picking up that guy, dropping off that medicine, him getting that food, him making that like, there's so many points in this episode, and it feels, again, like an RPG, like I'm playing a game, and like I'm sort of realizing my role in this game world as I play through it, realizing the things that I can do. I give this medicine to this guy's mom, and she's healed now, and he gives me food to trade, and then everything starts kind of connecting, and everything starts working in a sort of a network of things. You believe this world that we're in. We believe that these characters exist. The bandits, they felt real as well, and sort of his his kind of reaction to that. What do I do with these guys? Do I let them off and let them spread a horrible name of myself like everyone has been doing, or do I take everything from them and sell it, basically? And that's really cool as well. In this week's episode, we get a montage, but a montage that is done right. I think my favorite part about this episode of Shield Hero is that the passing of time felt real. The passing of time, I get it. They needed a montage there. Like, I don't know how, like, you could have conveyed all of this in such a short manner of time. It felt like such a minute task of just getting Filo this outfit, this magical thread, so that way she doesn't rip her outfit every time she turns into a big bird. But it felt like so much more than that. We fight a boss in this episode, this weird tiger snake demon thing, and that was really cool. When they first walked into this cave and they started hearing the voices or whatever, like, I guess it was the bats that were doing that. Like, that was super just well directed, first things first, but just really well done in terms of writing as well. I really like how they heard the things that they don't want to hear. Like, that's so just fantasy based there. I really like that, and then the visual indication of that happening, and Raphtalia and Filo's reaction to that was really good as well. Just good writing all around. I really like just everything sort of connecting, and then having just such great, like, that storyline is done. We got her this outfit. She can now turn into a bird and not rip her clothes. Like, that happening, everything that's happened, and this being the thing that we needed to do is just really great and really impactful as a viewer, because we see that the writer is just having fun. It feels like the writer of the series is just having a good time developing these characters, developing this world, and just writing, and that's special. I really feel that. I don't know if this is like, you know, I don't know how long this series is, but I'm okay with multiple episodes that are like this. I know that this season is 26 episodes, but in terms of like the manga or whatever, I don't know how long this all is. I think it's still ongoing, if I recall correctly, but I'm okay with stuff like this. I'm okay with more just kind of minute quests that involve, you know, good character development and good sort of world building there. The stuff that I really liked in this episode also was sort of like one of the traders calling back to the other heroes, how the spear hero like grew these crops. Apparently I was told that he took that seed from the treasure box that was in that cave, because that box was empty, and he planted it, but we all know, if you pay attention to the episode, that something bad will ensue for that famine-stricken village. And I really like that is not directly told to us. It's kind of just like, hey, remember that little thing there? That might be this. And I really like that. Seeing the sword hero or whatever, he's going off fighting dragons, and then the bow hero, I don't remember their names, I apologize. The bow hero, him just being kind of off the grid. We don't know what he's doing. He's training in the mountains. Is he even alive? Like, I love this. I can't wait for these characters to meet up again. I feel like that there's going to be sort of different dynamics between them now, especially now that Filo's a part of the party, and I don't know, like, it just feels great watching this series. I gotta be honest, this series has not at once made me disappointed. I've just been enjoying and eating up every single episode, and I've been looking forward to it. I've been looking forward to each and every episode throughout the weeks, and it's definitely up there in one of my favorites for sure. You know, even kind of edging out Mob, I'm not gonna lie, because it's just quality. Something that I have not mentioned in any of my previous, you know, talks about this series is the soundtrack. Kevin Penkin is a mastermind. I think he is one of the best composers that is working in anime today, and this episode was no exception to that. My goodness, the soundtrack. Every episode has had an incredible soundtrack, and again, I failed you there in not mentioning that, because soundtracks are very important to me in all anime, but God, it stands out. It stands out so much it stands out, but it doesn't stand out. The soundtrack feels a part of this world. It feels a part of these characters, and it adds so much to it. It adds so much believability and so much just engrossment, and I really like that. Kevin Penkin, I'm not familiar with all of his work, but his previous work was Made in Abyss. That soundtrack was, again, it just served the series. It made the series feel more whole, and it made you believe the series more. I really like what the studio is doing as well. Like, the studio, this animation in the episode, it's not like in your face spectacular, but it's just of quality. It is of standard. All the characters look really well drawn. All the characters move really well. The action scene with the weird, snake-tailed tiger, that was really, really cool. There's kind of a really cool cut there with Raphtalia. She's like dodging the snake. She kind of ducks down. That is a really, really well executed sort of set direction there. Just quality anime, truly, just quality anime. That's pretty much all I have to say. Again, there was no like huge plot revelations in this episode. It was kind of a chill episode for Mob and for Shield Hero, but I think out of like just chill things happening, I think that Shield Hero definitely stand above Mob here and just kind of satisfying the viewer in terms of quality. I really do. And Mob again is directed so well, and it looks so pretty, but I feel like I got more out of the Shield Hero episode as a viewer, just more entertainment out of it. And again, I'm not like saying that Shield Hero is vastly better than Mob or anything like that. I don't even like, having that argument, but in terms of entertainment quality, what I enjoyed this week, I think I enjoyed Shield Hero just a little bit more. Next up, we're talking about the best thing I watched this week, and that is The Promised Neverland. My goodness. So, full disclosure, I binge watched these 3 episodes last night. I binge watched them last night, and I watched in this order. I watched Mob, Shield Hero, and then I watched Promised Neverland. And Promised Neverland made both of those series minuscule. Promised Neverland is a series that just demands your attention. At every single scene, I'm soaking it up. My goodness, Cloverworks is just doing incredible work on this series. The direction in this episode, to me, reached new heights. And that is saying something, because every episode has just been spectacular in terms of direction. When they're reading the book and there's the little seal on each of the books and they're kind of deciphering them, and they're at the table and you see the symbol below them, like, it's direction I've never even seen in anime before, or any form of entertainment, mind you. And it's just, it works so well, and it feels so, it doesn't feel like flashy, like this is cool, but like, what are you doing here? Like, it doesn't feel like this is a real world. It feels like that this is what's going on through their heads as characters, and it just, God, it works. It works so well. And in this episode, it just starts right where the last week's episode ended, and it's just like Phil popping through that door. Like, I hate Phil, by the way. Phil is a creepy little dude. But I'm glad it wasn't the mother, obviously. But them kind of going into the secret passage, Dawn and Gilda. I really like Dawn and Gilda as characters. They feel very real and very fleshed out. A lot of people, I've heard a lot of people complain that like Gilda is not really talking. She's not really doing anything in this episode. But that's how most people would react and sort of, act in this scenario. That's how they would take this all in. I mean, this is a crazy thing happening, and you could see that Dawn is kind of in more of the kind of rejection phase. Like, I don't want to believe this. I want to just prove if this is really happening or not, and it is. And you could tell, just Dawn's reaction when he punches Ray and Norman. Like, that was really cool. Like, his sort of emotion there, that sort of monologue, him just going on in tears. And Dawn, we haven't really like seen him much in the series. This is kind of his first episode, and it works. It really does. Cloverworks, it works. The way everything is just sort of plotted and the way everything is just fitted together, it's just tightly wound in the best possible ways. It's hard. It is hard to go on and on about this series without like literally just pinpointing every little thing I like about it. I don't know. It's difficult talking about the series, and it's one of the reasons why I don't do weekly anime reviews just for this series alone, because I don't really know like how to convey how good this series is. If you were watching it, that direction is just, it's so engrossing and so powerful. The soundtrack is really good. The voice acting is really good. The atmosphere, the animation, everything about it. The way the episode ended, oh my god. Every episode is ended with just the stupidest cliffhanger that is just so impactful. I keep saying impactful in this video here, but it really is impactful. The way you see her there, she's so scary. Crone is such a scary character. Crone is absolutely terrifying. And then you see her, and then she says, "I want to join you." What does that even mean? Like, you see Emma's reaction to that, like, what? How is this going to, like, it's just, it's the most fun I had watching anime this week. man, I know if I watch Dororo, I know I'm going to have a different opinion, but The Promised Neverland to me is the best anime this winter season. I think it's just incredible. I truly do. And it's the source material. That is where it's coming from. Again, like I mentioned, the direction and everything, but it is truly the source material. The stuff about this doctor that is sort of like sending these codes through these books. Brilliant. Just brilliant. So well done there. I love it. I truly do. All these connections, the development of Dawn and Gilda as characters, like, man, I am just blown away by this series. Again, Mob and Shield Hero were great this week, but sound design as well. That's something else I forgot to mention. The sound design in this episode, I crank my volume all the way up. I love just being inside that world. You know, when I'm playing games, watching movies, I love things loud. I love being just like there. And this series benefited from that so much. Just footsteps. You hear footsteps, you hear doors opening and closing, just the characters' voices, the way they swell up, and it's just it's peerless. It is absolute peerless, and it's like perfection's right here. Promised Neverland's like right here, very close to being one of the better animes I've seen in my life. And that's so crazy saying, you know, we're in episode 6 now, and you know, I don't want to say it's too early to say that, because I haven't gotten this much enjoyment out of anime in a while, and it's just, God, it's really good. Anime is really, really good right now. So that's all I have to say about these 3 series. Again, next week we will be introducing a 4th series to the mix, Dororo. These videos will be getting longer and harder to edit, but I will take that on because, again, it's just, I love the amount of just different kinds of series. I love the amount of just like, these series are all great in very different ways. You know, Mob is quirky and fun and just weird and kind of stupid in a way, but stupid in the best ways. And then you have Shield Hero, which is just, it's an RPG. It's like everything I like about Re:Zero. Great character development, just great soundtrack and great direction. And then you have Promised Neverland, and it's just like there's so many, and then that's not even it. There's Kaguya-sama, and then there's Dororo as well, and there's so many different kinds of anime this season, and I truly have to just, I have to say, this is probably the best anime season I have witnessed in my entire life, or that I have been personally involved in and talking about and everything. Since I've been on YouTube, this has been the best anime season. And that's saying something, because I thought last season was pretty good, and I thought the season before that, I thought winter last year was really, really good, but this is just, it's remarkable. It truly is. There's like too much to watch. There's too much good stuff to watch. And that's not even counting the stuff that's ongoing right now, like Black Clover and of course JoJo as well. JoJo apparently is really, really good right now, and it's just, that's awesome. It really is. It's a good time to be an anime fan, and it's certainly a good time to be talking about it, and I love talking about it with you guys. So make sure to comment down below, give me your thoughts on these 3 episodes, give me your thoughts on other things you're watching as well, stuff that I'm not going to be able to talk about. I'd love to talk about it with you guys in the comments below. Kaguya-sama, you guys caught up on that? What's going on in that series? I've only watched the first episode, adored it. I probably should catch up to that, right? It's just, man, there's so many series, and it's almost stressful. It's almost stressful because I've never wanted to watch everything. Like, I want to watch Kaguya, I want to watch Promise, I want to watch Mob Psycho, Shield Hero, I want to watch Boogie Pop. I've only watched the first episode of that. I need to catch up on Boogie Pop as well. I gotta watch Dororo, I gotta watch, eventually I'm gonna have to watch JoJo. Like, there's too much happening here, and it's hard to keep track of it all, but I'll try my best, and I appreciate you guys sort of supporting me in that. It means a lot. But anyway, comment below, give me your thoughts on everything. Love talking about anime with you guys. If you want to keep talking about anime and it doesn't involve this video, you can hit me up on the Discord down in the description below. I have a Discord now. It's something I'm kind of doing. It's kind of fun. It's kind of weird. I'm still kind of learning the ropes of it, but it's a good time for sure. Just lots of memes. Anyway, that is pretty much all I have to say today. Thank you guys very much for watching. As I always say in every single video, I appreciate your viewership, appreciate those likes and comments, and everyone that has jumped on board to this channel, all you subscribers, you guys are great. And until next time, I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.